6 reasons why you don't need as many friends after 70. It is time to embrace the surprising joys of independent living. Have you ever wondered why some of the happiest 70-year-olds you know seem perfectly content spending time alone? While society constantly tells us we need large social circles to be fulfilled, there's a revolutionary truth that might shock you. I've discovered something incredible. The people who embrace independence after 70 often report higher levels of satisfaction, peace, and genuine happiness than those desperately clinging to extensive social networks. Today I'm going to share 6 powerful reasons why you don't need friends after 70, and more importantly, how embracing independence can transform your golden years into the most liberating period of your entire life. But before we begin, let me be clear about something crucial. This isn't about becoming a hermit or abandoning all human connection. This is about recognizing that the friendship rules that governed your younger years no longer apply, and discovering why that's actually the most freeing realization you'll ever have. Going forward, please tell us in the comments below, is this advice helpful or not? Does this ring true for you? We read every comment. What you think about our videos is important to us, so please take the time to share your thoughts. But please watch it to the end because this is valuable, encouraging wisdom. The first reason you don't need friends after 70 is that you have the right to be selective. Think about it. You've spent decades accommodating other people's schedules, interests, and drama. You've attended countless gatherings you didn't want to attend, maintained relationships that drained your energy, and said yes when you desperately wanted to say no. After 70, you have the wisdom and life experience to recognize that your time is precious, and you deserve to spend it exactly how you choose. This selective approach to socializing isn't antisocial behavior. It's intelligent life management. You've developed the confidence to distinguish between relationships that genuinely enrich your life and those that exist simply out of habit or obligation. When you embrace this selective mindset, something magical happens. The few connections you do maintain become deeper, more meaningful, and infinitely more satisfying than the dozens of superficial friendships you might have juggled in your younger years. Many people in their 70s discover that they prefer quality conversations over quantity interactions. They'd rather have one meaningful exchange with someone who truly understands them than spend an entire afternoon making small talk with acquaintances who barely scratch the surface of who they really are. This isn't loneliness speaking. This is wisdom recognizing that authentic connection doesn't require a crowd. The second reason independence becomes so valuable after 70 is that you finally developed an unshakable sense of self. By this stage of life, you know exactly who you are, what you believe, and what matters most to you. You're no longer seeking validation from others or trying to figure out your identity through social feedback. This self-knowledge creates an incredible foundation for contentment that doesn't rely on external approval or constant social stimulation. When you have a strong sense of self, solitude transforms from something to be avoided into something to be cherished. You become your own best company because you genuinely enjoy the person you've become. You've accumulated decades of experiences, wisdom, and insights that make your own thoughts fascinating companions. You can spend hours reflecting on memories, processing experiences, and simply enjoying the rich inner world you've cultivated over a lifetime. This internal richness means you're no longer dependent on others for entertainment, intellectual stimulation, or emotional fulfillment. You've become self-sufficient in the most profound way possible. You can find joy in simple pleasures like reading a compelling book, working on a creative project, or simply sitting quietly and appreciating the moment. This isn't isolation. This is the ultimate form of self-reliance. The third reason you don't need extensive friendships after 70 is that you've learned to distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Most people fear being alone because they confuse it with being lonely, but these are entirely different experiences. Loneliness is an emotional state characterized by feeling disconnected, unfulfilled, and yearning for company. Solitude, however, is a choice. It's the deliberate decision to spend time alone because you find value, peace, and satisfaction in your own company. After 70, many people discover that solitude offers something they never fully appreciated in their busy younger years: complete freedom. Freedom from having to consider anyone else's preferences when making decisions. Freedom from social obligations that feel draining. Freedom from the need to explain yourself or justify your choices to others. This freedom becomes intoxicating once you truly experience it. Solitude also provides space for deep reflection and personal growth that's often impossible when you're constantly surrounded by others. You can process life experiences at your own pace, explore new interests without judgment, and develop aspects of yourself that might have been suppressed during decades of social conformity. Many people find that their most creative and insightful moments happen when they're completely alone, free from the influence and expectations of others. The fourth reason independence becomes so appealing after 70 is that you've likely experienced the natural evolution of friendships over time. By this age, you've witnessed how friendships change, fade, and sometimes end. You've seen friends move away, develop different interests, or simply grow in directions that no longer align with your own path. You've experienced the grief of losing friends to illness or death. These experiences, while sometimes painful, teach you that friendships are often temporary, and that's perfectly natural. This understanding removes the pressure to maintain friendships simply for the sake of having them. You realize that it's better to have genuine connections that naturally fit your current life than to force relationships that no longer serve anyone involved. You become comfortable with the ebb and flow of human connections, understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is allow relationships to evolve or end gracefully. You also develop appreciation for different types of connections. Perhaps you maintain one deep friendship that's lasted decades, enjoy occasional conversations with neighbors, or find satisfaction in brief but pleasant interactions with service providers or fellow hobbyists. You learn that meaningful connection doesn't always require deep, personal friendships. Sometimes a warm smile from a stranger or a brief conversation with someone who shares your interests can provide all the social nourishment you need. The fifth reason you don't need extensive friendships after 70 is that you've mastered the art of self-entertainment and personal fulfillment. Throughout your life, you've accumulated interests, hobbies, and passions that can provide endless hours of satisfaction. Whether it's gardening, reading, crafting, cooking, learning new skills, or pursuing creative endeavors, you have a wealth of activities that bring you joy without requiring anyone else's participation. This self-sufficiency in entertainment and fulfillment is incredibly liberating. You're no longer dependent on others to make your days interesting or meaningful. You can wake up each morning with a sense of purpose and anticipation, knowing that you have plenty of engaging activities to choose from. You might spend the morning working in your garden, the afternoon reading a fascinating biography, and the evening working on a creative project. Your day is full, satisfying, and entirely your own. Many people discover that their hobbies and interests become more sophisticated and deeply satisfying as they age. Without the pressure of career demands or family obligations, you can devote serious time and attention to pursuits that truly fascinate you. You might become an expert gardener, a skilled craftsperson, or a voracious reader who explores subjects you never had time for during your working years. These pursuits provide intellectual stimulation, creative satisfaction, and a sense of accomplishment that rivals any social interaction. The sixth and perhaps most profound reason you don't need friends after 70 is that you've developed a deep appreciation for peace and tranquility. After decades of noise, chaos, and constant social demands, you've learned to value quiet moments and peaceful environments. You recognize that constant social stimulation can actually be exhausting and that there's tremendous restorative power in silence and solitude. This appreciation for peace doesn't make you antisocial or unfriendly. Instead, it makes you more intentional about when and how you engage with others. You choose social interactions that enhance your peace rather than disrupt it. You might prefer quiet conversations over loud gatherings, meaningful discussions over gossip, and quality time with selected individuals over busy social events with large groups. You also develop a deeper connection with nature and your immediate environment. Many people find that spending time alone allows them to notice and appreciate things they previously overlooked. The way sunlight filters through your windows, the sounds of birds outside your home, the satisfaction of a well-organized living space, or the simple pleasure of enjoying a perfectly prepared meal in complete quiet. These small moments become sources of profound contentment. Now, let me address something important. Embracing independence after 70 doesn't mean becoming completely isolated or rejecting all human connection. The goal isn't to eliminate people from your life, but to be highly selective about the relationships you maintain and the social activities you choose. You might maintain one or two close friendships that truly enrich your life while letting go of relationships that feel obligatory or draining. You might also discover new forms of connection that suit your current needs better than traditional friendships. Perhaps you enjoy volunteering for a cause you care about, where you can contribute meaningfully while interacting with like-minded individuals. Maybe you find satisfaction in mentoring younger people, sharing your wisdom and experience without the ongoing social obligations of traditional friendship. Or you might enjoy participating in hobby groups or classes where you can pursue your interests while having pleasant interactions with others who share your passions. The key is recognizing that you have choices now that you might not have felt you had in your younger years. You can design a social life that perfectly fits your current needs, energy levels, and interests. You don't need to maintain friendships simply because society expects it, or because that's what you did in previous decades of your life. Some people worry that choosing independence means missing out on the benefits of social connection, such as emotional support during difficult times or companionship during major life events. But here's the beautiful truth many people discover after 70. When you've developed a strong sense of self and learned to find contentment in solitude, you become incredibly resilient. You develop internal resources that can carry you through challenges without requiring extensive external support. This doesn't mean you become invulnerable or that you never need help. It means you become more self-reliant and less dependent on others for your emotional well-being. When you do need support, you're more likely to seek it from appropriate sources rather than expecting friends to fill roles they're not equipped for. You might rely on family members for certain types of support, professional services for others, and maintain your independence in areas where you're perfectly capable of caring for yourself. As we wrap up, I want you to consider this revolutionary idea. What if the secret to happiness after 70 isn't about maintaining an extensive social network, but about finally giving yourself permission to live exactly as you choose? What if the most liberated years of your life are the ones where you stop trying to please everyone else and start prioritizing your own peace, contentment, and authentic desires? The 6 reasons we've explored today all point to the same fundamental truth. You've earned the right to be selective about how you spend your time and energy. You've developed the wisdom to know what truly matters to you. You've accumulated enough life experience to be confident in your choices. And you've reached a stage where your happiness depends more on your relationship with yourself than your relationships with others. This doesn't make you selfish or antisocial. It makes you wise. It makes you authentic. And it opens the door to a level of contentment and peace that many people never experience because they're too busy trying to maintain social expectations that no longer serve them. So, embrace your independence. Choose solitude when it serves you. Be selective about your social commitments. Trust your instincts about which relationships truly enrich your life and which ones you can gracefully release. Your 70s and beyond can be the most authentically satisfying years of your entire life, and that satisfaction doesn't require anyone else's approval or participation. Now that you have listened to this video all the way through, we thank you and again ask you to tell us how this idea of independence after 70 might work for you or how you are using the steps mentioned to enhance your life. Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for watching the Dr. Forever Healthy channel.